Well, Charles Bronson is making a wish again. He's back in New York making Death Wish 3, the second sequel to his wildly successful vigilante movie. Pat Collins has arranged an exclusive interview with Bronson, and she's here with us this morning. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Maria. It's good to see you, and welcome. Death Wish 3 is filming in New York City, the city where Death Wish 1 was made more than 10 years ago. The movie, the director hopes, will be released in October before any network has a chance to rush the Bernhard Goetz story into production. Mr. Goetz, you recall, shot 4 muggers on a subway train last December. New York is frustrated by subway crime, quickly elevated Mr. Goetz to folk hero status. The press even referred to Mr. Goetz as the Death Wish vigilante and compared his actions to a key scene in the movie. It's this comparison that bothers Charles Bronson, who created the character of Paul Kersey, the New York architect who avenges his wife's murder and his daughter's rape by shooting muggers. Now that Mr. Goetz has put the issue of vigilantism back in the news, Death Wish 3 looks to be even more relevant than the original. When Death Wish was released in 1974, it caused an enormous controversy, with its critics claiming the movie would encourage people to take the law into their own hands. Death Wish director Michael Winner points out that didn't happen back then, and insists Bernhard Goetz was not influenced by the movie.
He didn't copy us. If he did, he was the slowest learner in history. I think we did one of the most accurate bits of prediction in the history of movies. We said, first of all, to people, forget Red Indians and Germans and gangsters. The villain is the petty thief, the common criminal. He's the real chap. And we said, if this happens, anyone killing them will be applauded. Now, what has happened 11 years later is that Mr. Goetz has done exactly what the film prophesied, and the American public, and indeed the world public, has reacted exactly as prophesied and approved of it. They shouldn't really, because Mr. Goetz became a mugger just as badly as those he attacked. So I do not approve of this, but, you know, you make a film about a society. Action, dear!
Winner was recently quoted in a newspaper saying that the first Death Wish in part reflected the views of the movie star Charles Bronson. Mr. Bronson was upset over the quote that he, like his character, would like to shoot muggers.
No. I never did say that. What I said was this. He said, he explained what the story was about. He had read the book. I said, I'd probably feel that way if somebody did that to my family, like this character in the story. I'd probably feel that way, you know. If my family were attacked, I'd want to get back at them. I would want to do something about it. And that's about as far as I went. I had never said what Michael Winter quoted me as saying, that I would like to go out and shoot muggers. That's criminal. I mean, it's not only criminal, it's a mortal sin. Who would like to go out and kill anybody? Muggers or anybody else.
Bugger!
In Death Wish 3, Bronson organizes a terrorized New York neighborhood to murder a gang of thugs and muggers. Mr. Bronson was not eager to do this third film.
The script has excessive violence. It really has a lot. That was one reason. And the other reason was it doesn't fit the title anymore. The title is wrong for this particular story. Now he's a vigilante. He's no longer a man who... This is the progression of the character, Paul Kersey. It's where he is at this point in his life. He's no longer seeking death. He no longer has a death wish. Now what he has is just vengeance.
Mr. Bronson not only has reservations about Death Wish 3, but confessed to second thoughts about the original. We asked if he regretted making the first Death Wish.
In a way, yes, because I get buried in scripts that are violent. They've been coming at me from all sides, and it seems that this is the only thing that anybody wants me to do is acts of violence. You know, so far I've had a long career. I started as an actor back in making pictures in 1950. So it's a long time. And I made a lot of choices. At one time, I was a supporting actor. I got great reviews, you know, good criticism all the time, like Magnificent Seven and The Great Escape and Dirty Dozen and pictures such as that. But it wasn't getting me where I wanted to be. So what I did was changed, you know, the category in which I was, and tried to. I mean, I deliberately made that choice. And I made a choice to do Death Wish because I felt that that kind of a picture was needed at the time. But I didn't care for carrying on with that sort of thing, you know. So now it's difficult to get out of it. And it's maybe a little, not really too late. But since I still have, well, vigor, and I still have strength, and I still have believability in this kind of a part, I guess, nobody will throw a script my way that's just pure acting, you know. It's all action. Goodbye.
Mr. Bronson told me, Maria, that he's sorry that people think that he's violent just because he's in all these violent movies. He said it really isn't, and that's true. If anything, he's very shy, certainly very quiet and reserved man, very much involved with his family, and he's not at all like these characters. And that's his concern, is that he's done so many of these movies that now the public feels that that's what he's like.
I'm curious, were there plans for a Death Wish 3 before the Bernhard
Yes.
Goetz story?
Oh, yes, I just think the Bernhard Goetz story moved it along. As I said before, I think that the Cannon film people and Michael Winner, the director, felt, well, if we don't get this going, one of the networks might, and there's already been a rumor that one of the networks is interested in putting a Bernhard Goetz-like story. I don't think he'd allow them, from what I've read, the rights to his story, but they could easily put one fiction based on fact together. And so I think they've rushed this into production.
It'll be out next fall. Thank you
Yes.
very much, Pat. It's now 14 before the hour. Stay with us.